So everybody, it's Amon here. Welcome back to another one of my ranking YouTubers. This is going to be a long one with me, as you see by the title, just giving my opinion on Coryxkenshin, a full in-depth analysis, because I have a lot to say about this man. He's one of my favorite YouTubers, but I have a lot of different things I want to say about him, and the film being good, congratulations, critical view, and a bunch of things to talk about involving the case for how he's like. Maybe I might list this off in different form of categories, maybe not, but I hope you guys will just take into consideration my opinion. I don't want to make this too long. We'll see how long it gets to. But I love y'all. Hope you guys will enjoy. So yeah, let's go and get into it.
I've been at it on my own time, no. Flexing on my own dime, no. I've been working on my own time, no. Flexing on my own time, no. Yeah. Made it happen, making songs, man. I do that on the daily. Working way too long, swear my friends will think I'm crazy. I've been at it rolling, been feeling good lately. About to buy a damn jet ski, cause I'm so wavy. On time, no. I've been at it on my own dime, no. Yeah. Moving on. Think my mind is finally really gone. Think it's time.
Coryxkenshin started off over in the year 2009 with his career and all that. A lot of different things happened with him in this case, with him starting his channel and the upbringing of him in college, correct me if I'm wrong. Now I'll give you a full biography and origin of him, but in the planning of his career, he pushed to go and do a bunch of different things with his career, with him having a funny personality and dynamic cool stuff about him, especially in the fact that obviously with his gameplays and mainly horror games bringing him to the highest table. With his first saga of breaking ankles came in the form of him breaking the ankles of Al Oni all the way back in the day, and do another bit high bringing things in between that point as well. With that being said, Coryxkenshin started a big saga and legacy of him making a legend of himself breaking the ankles of Al Oni, one of the biggest feared horror characters of the time, and still even then, my man's a rapist. But I mean, the joke aside though, he did a bunch of different cool things involving himself as a YouTuber and doing a bunch of things that other people couldn't, which is in this case kind of be themselves, arguably in this case, for how they made themselves be about some things. I guess you could put it like that. But with him, specifically for me, that made him unique is in the case for him giving me inspiration, catchphrases, how he did things with samurai slicing, being a samurai, his description, how he made himself be, and his feel, and he's kept himself the exact same all the way to then with the background with Snaf, Al Oni, also the cultivation of his legacy since Snaf, at that moment, a bunch of other stuff changed his livelihood and how he was, and kept the same profile picture for now 13 years plus, correct me if I'm wrong, and he just did his thing, which is awesome for him. With his gameplay and arcade stuff that he does, he's super inanimate, unique with his stuff. He drops bangers, he's cool with his horror games, arcade stuff. He seems like a very agreeable person. I understand his stuff, and he has given me inspiration about other different point of view stuff going on, my livelihood and arcade stuff going on. So I mess with what he speaks of, I mess with his Christian values and the form how he does stuff and how he calls their things as well. And yeah, Coryxkenshin is very cool, but as well, with some arcade stuff I want to go talk about with him being said in this case is not just in the sense of his goods and cons as well, but also some other things to be said about him just in relation in this case to go and talk about with that being said. But like I said, he's a good dude, he's a good pro, you know what I'm saying, with the case what he does. He's a good bro and YouTuber putting together good things that are cool involving people's content that they would like in this case, and depending on the case involving how it's like. But mainly I mean in the sense of how he puts out his content in relation to that. Because obviously these are pros that bigger pros are going to pick out, and also counter-types, counter stuff, and at the same time cons as well, with that being said. But that's just how I feel in the flesh flow over the case what he does, depending on the case. Now other things lining to him, he's part of other different people, that inspired me here and there, in the case of Matt for different things, like in the form of Dashi, different Cub Scouts, more other people. He has entire collage of different people that he messed with and his friends set up on his channel, so you look about that, you know all these different kids' names most likely. Coryxkenshin does be making moves, which is why I fuck with him, because he focuses on other people and I fuck with them too, and I made different talk abouts between them as well, and I can't wait to go ahead and get to them on a bigger outer scale case level, but we'll see about that. But as well, I mess with everything else involving his content for the most part. Or something I don't necessarily like in the case for how he sets some things up. Can work. He's funny. He's cool, inanimate, not negative. In some other cases, the same for how he might go with things. Not bad or nothing. He's a channel for everybody, not just in the form for him not cursing, which is because obviously him being a Christian, not trying to deform himself to some big negative ways, but also because of the film for how he's be able to be put in everybody's circle case of content. Horror games, the general playthroughs, action, more kind of darker, gritty games, depending on the case. There's a bunch of things that can be relative within the form of what he plays, how he does things, and all that. And it's cool to really look about that, you know what I'm saying? But as well, evolving the feel for how he is as a person within this other case stuff also lines up other people to be there for him in all other ways. Because obviously, he has child-friendly stuff. He's a cool person, and at the same time, there's a lot of likeness to be had to him. But everybody can find a case of likeness to him, even in the case for situations where it might seem he might not be this for you. I just feel like he has very open versatility to everybody when it comes down to likeness in the inner space circle. You know what I mean? But at the same time, his capabilities within games as well is pretty good. Like, he's good at games and all that. Not trying to sound bored with it. That's a lot of you gonna say. I would also go ahead and say that when it comes down to a tad bit of his versatility with content, involving like editing and all that, it's pretty top notch because he's edited all his videos for the entirety. But I can't say you say, and I can definitely see it. So big up Coryxkenshin, big up Cory. You deserve all that. He has his iconic afro looking like Huey from the Boondocks, and at the same time looking like Afro Samurai. I mean, my man is Black Samurai Jack. My man got an entire attire like y'all scared. There's a bunch of different iconic things about him. Like, Coryxkenshin just got a bunch of different out there, very light things. But besides all the pros, it's time to really talk about some bigger case stuff. Some of you guys might know the cons, some of you guys might not. But here's some cons behind the fact that my man leaves for an entire Dragon Ball Z saga. No offense. But besides that, we're going to go and get into that. Cons with him, like I said before, to reiterate, is obviously not just going to be that as a main twist. That's going to be up to the last. My case of cons is that when he uploads some things, I feel like after some different times, there's not that much bigger case of uniqueness put into it. But some of the games that he's recently playing for the last main case of for his content isn't really my thing. Hasn't super interested me on a bigger scale. He doesn't really have that much anatomy, depending on the case of it. He still always drops some bangers. It's just that more and more it doesn't come into the same field of uniqueness that I saw dead ass from a digger proportion, because the factor of how he did things. When I say from a digger portion, it's from the case of how he would make this stuff go more by, push for some different case stuff. I'm not saying don't put energy into it. No, I wouldn't dare to say that in a general sense. I'm just saying the case for how he puts together other stuff is not necessarily in the same boat as some of the bigger stuff that he's had, or could be as good. Basically, in conclusion, I'm just saying that, yeah, he has a great stop of videos, but are they the same caliber, different cases of math of videos that have been shown different cases? I would not say so, just by a general theory, because the case of how he's put together with his other stuff is really not the same from a general making, the case of math for other people, and the case of math for their content as well, with that being said. Then as well, I feel like how he links together some other bigger stuff with his content is in the same form as I would personally feel fit, and that's just more of a subjective thing, because obviously this is all my opinion on him, obviously from me putting in the title, and obviously from the start in the intro that this is my opinion. Obviously there is some objectivity with some of the cases things that I say realistically evolving the field of him being a YouTuber, some of the cases matter for how he does things, but this isn't me trying to say by all above that he has no core of actual good content or any anonymity. With that being said, with that kind of saying, I'm saying simply that how he goes about things with his content in different cases is not really my thing, and is not really something I feel like some people ask for. But I'm not saying he should discard other people's my likeness to it. It's just more some horror games not really my field, and it kind of gets old. But I'm not saying it's not interesting. Some other kids horror games that he plays cool, not really the most cool. So when I see him playing it, especially since it's not really my thing. Like, I mess with horror games, obviously, as you guys can tell. I'm just saying, well, maybe it depends on the person, thinking about it a little bit more. But it really is just a precaution for if you guys have been with my channel for a longer time, or just got a feel for what I've been saying with this being said, my articulation of it. But I mess with horror games, just in the sometimes the case of matter when he's be playing some horror games, not really my precaution of super likeness. It's not really my thing. It's not really my thing to tell out there in this case. But that's me personally, obviously. So I'm not trying to detract anybody else's from a likeness and how they course about it, stuff from how they're going to believe that, so forth, and how they're going to do stuff as well. With that being said, but this really depends on the feel of how they're going to actually going to do it and the etc. With that being said, yeah. That sounded hella weird, me saying it super fast. I don't know if that was full tongue, so hopefully y'all got that in the most grandest way. It's just simply his content is good, but it's not in the same boat and account for all and other stuff that I would like to go ahead and say. It's just simply, if you're going to tell me that some of that stuff does not get old in the setup, I definitely would disagree, because point to it doesn't actually make any difference on other case or other content that could be made. Again, I understand that's subjective, and I'm not the mainline person he's trying to entertain or even matter about, because again, I love that he says himself, even for a lot of different cases, things that you could say might be negative on the forefront of it. But it's not even a negative case of gaming. It's just not my relativism involving actual gaming that I would like. So I really would rather him do something more inanimate in some of the games that he tries to go and play, which goes more deeper into my con here in the critical basis. Is that some games he plays, they're cool for the film of what he wants to go put up, but then he leaves us on red and doesn't finish them. He doesn't leave any other game to be finished. He goes for another, doesn't even matter. My man finished Spider-Man Miles Morales, but this nigga, no offense, has not finished the original Spider-Man PS4. Again, he doesn't have to, but it's not just that. Even Dying Light. My man finished Dying Light 1, but then was scored with Dying Light the following. I don't know if he played the rest of it and didn't like it. Maybe he might have not. But I feel like the way it was put together, he definitely could like it. Maybe it was the tedious fact that he had to go ahead and help people back to back on side missions to push more of the story, even though the side missions do hold Connecticut with some other stuff involving how these missions are correspond together. Maybe not. I do not know, because I'm not him. But it's not even just that. It's not even about just leaving us on red in the case of evolving games. It's also about some setup for how he goes about things with other parts of gaming and what he would produce evolving just general kind of content. Because there's really not a layout of anything super inanimate and full to me because of how he makes it be. It's really just not the most interesting or inanimate thing to be said with this being said. It's just not really that interesting. I don't really care for it. He doesn't really make it super more inanimate in my opinion. And again, this is all my opinion. I just feel like this is a closing point for an account for what he can do in the field to stay mad for how he does it. Because it's not really my thing to tolerate or really anyone else's. I just really feel like that's bad from an actual gameplay playthrough person. Like, how you gonna make videos on something and not continue it? And also, not to be a hypocrite, because I understand I did something like that with Spider-Man Miles Morales, but it's the fact that I forgot, and maybe he could have as well. But like, it's a consistent thing. At least I try to produce my own stuff in a way to where I have multiple other products and content that are good, and then rally back on that. And even then, there's also view count with that being said as well. I understand that corresponding to it. That's just me personally, because I feel like that's a critical thing. You're disowning the other case of matter for content that you say you're going to produce and do that, doesn't do it. I can understand obvious games are not super popping. Like, you're not going to do Yandere Simulator no more because it's not getting the biggest hype anymore, and that game is dead. That's been sent to the shadow realm, especially since the developer is doing whatever and don't have the time, or no offense on Cloud 9, but I'm just saying, like, it really is kind of dumb to me if you would say that that's a good thing in this case, or even say, even if you forgot to declare that as a form of you just not caring to the fullest. Because with that being said, it just kind of sounds like laziness, which is another thing I'm going to get into. But overall, I don't necessarily care about how the content will go. I just hope that he do his thing, he be good, and there's not a bigger layout problem. It kind of just gets, in the form of expression, frustrating if he say he's gonna go do this game, doesn't do it, and then when somebody else tries to go ahead and showcase that, he doesn't continue with doing that. Again, it takes time for him to go and do that, but he's not open with his audience. He doesn't take the fact that people are worrying about that and make it be more clear. He kind of just takes his time, wallows about with it, doesn't really understand. I'm not saying he don't care, but it really doesn't seem as much care. I kind of feel like it's just borderline case of inconsideracy blatantly, because he's not caring for the bigger half of his audience, waiting for content, flickers it out, and if he's not really caring for it, he doesn't open up about it. Again, I kind of sense in kind of games is not really needed though, because again, it declares every form of how the content was supposed to be produced in one order to another. You feel me? My next point being onward though, his laziness. Now let me talk first on a few things to make clear within disclaimer with this. I'm not saying with him being lazy is indiscriminately bad, Being overboastfully lazy is a problem. It's simply just procrastination. We could put that into the same boat, because arguably there is no full fundamental difference, at least in this distinct point. But with that being said, when I say this, this isn't me trying to just say he's a lazy person who don't give a fuck. There's just times where I feel like it's blatantly laziness, and you really have to prove to me that it's not. Cory, I understand that you can be burnt out. I understand YouTube is hard. This as a form of a job is a lot, and even though I'm not a big YouTuber, I don't have the biggest case of responsibility that he does, because he got millions of fans, millions of subscribers, followers, a bunch of people. I get he has a lot on his plate. I understand that. But you do know that if you have different social medias, different connections to make it clear why, you can do that. He'll make a video, he'll do that, then he'll just pass on and do a bunch of other different shit. He don't let the fans know. And this goes for all YouTubers, because he's not the only person to do this. There's multiple other YouTubers I can name right now. There has been C-Day, there's EFB for a time, Noob3 has done it 3 times, correct me if I'm wrong. A bunch of other YouTubers have done it here and there, but at least I feel like they're a lot more considerate, because C-Day legit blatantly said it. This nigga has not uploaded ever since that last video about No Way Home. My man said blatantly he gonna be gone. Like, we gotta just accept it. We know it's gonna be the case already, but at least he acknowledged the fact. He's always acknowledged it. Cory has, but it doesn't seem like he defined, declares how it's gonna be. Especially, no offense, at 10 mil, my man didn't upload for the entirety of 9 mil. Didn't upload for shit. Didn't do nothing. I understand coming from under some scenarios that took a burden to him, but he didn't inform us depending on the case. I get not everybody follows him on Twitter, Instagram, some other case platforms he might be on, but he doesn't actually put it out there directly about the situation. Correct me if I'm wrong, someone passed away from COVID. Something happened with his grandma. Correct me if I'm wrong, or was it mother? Yeah, I think it might have been his mother. I don't know if I keep confusing it with grandma here and there, because somebody corrected me on this one time when I was talking about it. But either way, it's not just that. I understand the reason. This also goes for the other reasons, because this is going to be the entire palette of different reasons why he left. In other cases, he says because of his mental health, trying to understand some different things, trying to prosper the channel in multiple different type of ways, and continuing with his stuff. I get that. Simple case of math. But in precaution with how he does it, he rolls to another cases for where he does not tell us the exact reason, and even cases where it seemed like he might, he doesn't give us a direct answer, and it's more just a kind of off-base answer. Again, he doesn't owe us shit, because obviously we're just watchers. He's not just some random entertainer that we can just control to do this, and I'm not saying that he is. I'm just saying I think it would be a lot more better if he just made it a lot more abundantly clear about how he's gonna roll about some things, than just ignoring the fact that we are over here waiting, trying to understand when he's gonna come back in this about that. Me personally with it, I'm not super worried about it unless somebody mentions it, because I can see it obviously. At first there was worry, because like, what's possibly happening? I'm worried about this man. I'm not worried about the content. This is not even just the content, because I wish him the best. I really do. Real talk. Like this Gar, all this case of stuff about him being critical of YouTuber, I wish him the best. I wish everybody the best. Even in the case of me not liking their stuff or really disagreeing with them. Even the people I really do not think are the best people, even like Keemstar. But even at that point, we have to be real. We have to be realistic. We can't just be here thinking docile in comparison to him. I'm not saying he wants us to be like that. I'm not one of these fucking clickbait ponderer for views people who say Coryxkenshin is the devil, say all this fucking dumb shit. Them niggas do not have brains, okay? They keep just spouting out a bunch of different stuff to puncture a bunch of different views to their stuff, because it doesn't even make sense. It's weird. One dude kept clickbaiting about this man going through some stuff and made the most drastically weird stuff. You know these niggas are lying. You know they are lying. You know they are lying. It's legit just because he's a big YouTuber. It's pretty disgraceful if you would ask me. But even then, with that being said, we have to take into account the time that he's been gone. My man was gone for months on end. One of the, don't know if it's the second time possibly, but I'm pretty sure one if not the second and first time. We already know he was gone for a while, but did not tell us exactly why. He does not need to, but he came back, didn't bring in that much credit factor involving the content that we have missed. Does not tell us an indirect reason for why, and I understand he needs to go ahead and do his stuff. He needs to go ahead and go about and handle his business. That's fine. But I feel like some better consideration about the factor of his fans waiting on this man and trying to tolerate him leaving for a time should be better concern to him. And I feel like he doesn't really think about that. Think about how things are going to be, especially since at 10 mil to re-back into that case of a point, my nigga waited it out. Didn't talk nobody, just waited it out. Him man hit 9 mil, waited out to 10. It had so many people clogged with fear and paranoia about, oh, he's gonna quit / retire at 10 mil. He's just gonna do that. Okay, we got that. But then he comes over here, comes back at 10 mil, doesn't tell us shit, respectfully. Does not tell us shit at all. Comes back, tells us that he's not quitting, which that's fine. If you change your mind because of a lot of stuff that you value on this channel, I know that this channel is his baby. He been pushing P on this content for years. He puts all this in type of work. I can respect that. I respect his integrity. I really do. That's a very possible inspirational thing. But I'm not gonna sit here respectfully and allow this man to come over and tell me or anyone else in this scenario that, and then act like there's not gonna be some degradation on the fact of respect to this man. Because I'm not trying to be mean, but my man sat here, didn't upload for a whole mil take, man. Waited 100,000 to another mil, 10 mil to get a diamond play button, then came back, bro. He didn't tell us nothing. Respectfully, I'm not trying to take away the fact that he was going through some stuff, and I'm not mad at it for real. I'm just legit kind of disappointed. Like, I don't want to sound high and mighty more than this man, but as a YouTuber, as a content creator, you need to hold yourself accountable for this stuff. It doesn't make sense that you would come over here, tell us this shit, wait it out just to see about some shit, then to get to that, and have niggas going around saying unsubscribe for Coryxkenshin so he doesn't retire on this shit, which doesn't even make a difference, because first of all, he's gonna get 10 mil regardless. It's fucking Coryxkenshin. Come on, my man. My man's at 13 mil. They're gonna get 14 mil by the end of the year. Possibly guaranteed. $5 on it right now, maybe. Point being said, still though, is that this man is gonna give views and followers, subscribers, whatever the case may be, regardless. It doesn't detect the factor that obviously you don't want him to go and retire, but we cannot control him to go ahead and stay. And I don't want that to be the case. If he's gonna do that, that's fine. But I feel like it takes away, or it defeats the purpose. Okay, it defeats the purpose. Unless you have valuable reasons, which I can understand his reason why, to push with it, that's fine. But if a person says they're gonna retire and do all this other stuff, and they already made a marketer, they have that marketer. But my man didn't push out any lasting content, didn't give us any grievance of something to think about or talk about for a good majority of the time. And I understand everybody has their own personal life. I understand he needs to touch grass. We all do, even though that's not a profitable thing for me. Jokes aside though, point being said is that it's just very inconsiderate. Like, it doesn't actually make sense to talk about how you're going to retire, then just take away all the hype for that shit. It's not like he's trying to panderize us with this. I'm just saying it really is just inconsiderate to me. I don't really understand it. I wasn't one of these people that was crying, super hyped out about all this. No, because even though I fuck with Cory, he's not the type of YouTuber I'm super connected with to this level. Because there's only a few YouTubers that I kind of have that connection with because they're YouTube. I'm not saying they don't have any good connections or giving the kids inspiration. No, I had connection to YouTubers on a deeper place level, but either inspiration or the fact that I love them and I adore them. But Coryxkenshin isn't one of the people to that, because obviously I'm not a day one. I came around this man, I'm pretty sure, when he was at $250,000, pretty sure, maybe. And even then, I didn't have a big lasting overarching form of likeness to him in the same boat. I've always fucked with him in a way, but is it always a form of me saying, oh, I love this man, I love that? No. Obviously I fuck with a bunch of different things. My man helped me get into a bunch of different other things. My man helped me get into For Honor. He helped me think about different arcade stuff. He always made me laugh. He always did this. I fuck with that. But then when you come over here and basically lie to your fans and say that you're going to retire and then you don't, it just seems stupid. It just defeats the purpose. It makes no sense. It doesn't hold any credit. It doesn't hold any weight. is just a lie. It's just people kind of getting their feels for some dumb I just feel like it's very downpours to the fans and the people around him that would support him in this case, because obviously you got people in a fray about you retiring, doing whatever, and then at the end cycle for where you get to 10 mil, you didn't give us no content, no awareness, no nothing. It defeats the purpose. It's the honest. He said this in his own words as well, so basically we can just quote this off paint. But then when you profitize off of this stuff, you don't make it any better. And I'm not saying he's just a money grab. I'm not saying he's greedy. I'm not like other people. But simply put, if you're over here privatizing of what you're trying to do with YouTube, and at the same time talking about some bigger case stuff that is very important to your fans in the biggest form of a way, and you don't tell nobody, and you don't actually define your reasons, it kind of gets to a very unconsiderate manner. Like I said before, I don't want to keep repeating that. That's really how I feel though, because like you're not telling us what's going on. He doesn't necessarily need to tell us the business, but you go so long, and I feel like as our fans need to have better form of connection to you. It's not necessarily a bad thing that some content creators say, because in this case, when it comes down to people that support you, obviously with Cory and almost everybody else, because like I say, users don't owe you shit, even in the case of Evolve, them not posting, doing this, doing that, because they have their own lives, and you can work around and go to other people. But what I'm saying is that when you come over here and you get on the pedestal point to this extent, because it would still arguably be the same if he didn't even get it to Mill and say this shit, but when you get to that point where you talk about, oh, when I get a 10 mil, I'm gonna retire, can't wait to go ahead and show you guys more shit, and you don't give no content, it's cap. I don't have nothing else to say. There is no excuse. None. There is no excuse. This fucking no content, no correlation to care, nothing, no correspondence. And again, I want to repeat this very clearly this time in case you guys don't understand. He don't owe us shit. I'm not trying to degrade him, but it really just sounds like a straight form of ignorance and consideracy about the fans. I'm not saying he does not care, aware, any form of that point, but I feel like we cannot condone behavior like this, because it kind of is scamming us out of the field what we like. He's not the first person to do this, but I feel like there is more to this man than doing that. I'm not saying that he can't mess up. I'm not saying that he might not be aware. Maybe he was going through a bunch of different stuff. But like, there is no consistency in letting us know. He's not the first YouTuber to do it. And he's not going to be the last. But this is not the first time he has done this back to back. And even the other niggas that done this back to back have a better core of understanding how to go about this. Because again, as the fans that we are, we hold a better credit in understanding you by that point with this, because we know how you do this. We understand how you work, how you correlate with how your stuff is, and we understand you, but you don't understand us, and that's a problem. And I'm not just trying to speak on myself, because I'm not the only person that said it. I had a conversation with my cousin about this stuff. Other people have said this. I'm not the only person who talks about how he leaves for so long. I know people meme about it, but like, I don't know if anybody really thinks this critically about it, because like, it's really not okay if we want to go about YouTube a thing, because he's cool, but like, even if he does not upload better, he's still gonna be on some goat shit. But it's a problem. It's legit a problem. It's not needed half of the time, depending on the case. And I understand we all get burnt out, we all got our own shit to do, but we really got to start thinking about this situation, because at this point it really just seems very fuckery and mindset, depending on the case, because of how ridiculously inconsiderate some of that stuff can be sometimes. It really does not make sense at all in some different cases. It really does not seem reasonable to the point where you are at that point to then just go ahead and say, nah, fuck it, I'm not quitting. Nah, fuck that, don't even care. Like, I swear to God, if I would ever pull that on something of a serious note, I think that would just be the biggest decline in my pride in this case. I'm not trying to take away his credit of doing stuff here and there, and I feel like we've been on this point for a big majority, because it's almost 30 minutes within the time lapse here. But my God, that is a terrible thing, not as a person, but a terrible thing to tell to your fans, and then you be dishonest about it. Cause you start clicking a bunch of different nerves with this shit. I don't know if he's aware, but obviously he has, cause he's been on the internet and he looks over this shit, and I know he sees this shit. Cause everybody was all up in this man's dick, pause, about how he was gonna go and quit YouTube. Your name was in everybody's mouth, and then when it comes down to the time, no content. My retirement plan is pretty much what this man's whole deal was in the video regarding my retirement. I get it, man. You love this shit, but you need to be honest about how you're gonna do this. Do not come here, talk about how you are going to retire, and then do this shit. I know it might seem negative, but I'm saying all this shit because I care. I want Cory to do good. I want him to do great. But I'm going to speak about it in a realistic way. I'm not calling him a full-on liar. I'm just saying you are being very dishonest with that. That's not cool. And he knows this, most likely. And he said it, so I hope he understands it. But the fucking problem is that this is not the first time this nigga does this. And no offense, he doesn't make a big point of consistency to understand how people feel about it, I feel like. Like, he probably gauges it, because no shit, he sees it. But he doesn't actually rationalize / understand the point of view of what people are trying to speak about with this. And again, to reconcile the other case of point of what I was saying, but when people say in the comment that we and our fans need to have a better canal or form of our fans need to have a better sense of understanding, that's something that is true in this case of this scenario. Because I wouldn't say, again, the IO shit, because that's not the case of what I need in this case or what I need to go and bring out. Because I feel like y'all people who do support me and want to see your boy blow up and push to the highest peaks and God's the limit, because that is my goal in every case since, want to see that too. But in desire to come for someone like Coryxkenshin to get to that staple, you need to really find that inner rolling case of mind for calling. Because some of that shit does not work if you cannot put in the integrity itself to grow with that shit. It does not fundamentally work, and it is terrible in this sense to do that and be dishonest. It's not funny, it's not good, it's not a tolerable thing. Because when you do it back to back, it's not even funny. In some cases, you don't even have real cursorial reasons. Especially all these people getting clout chasing, pondering, and picking at this man's name every case since in this mug, bro. It's not good, it's not funny, it's not reasonable in any case of math situation. I fuck with how he goes about things and what he does. I mess with it truly. And I'm not trying to come at him in the biggest hurtful way. But my final conclusion of all this, besides this rant, is that Coryxkenshin needs to be a lot more honest, a lot more precise in how he's going to go about things, which it seems like he is. And we all know that he's going to be going for different cases. But it gets annoying that this man is going to leave and do this and not be honest with the fans about the situation. We all know as Coryxkenshin fans, and we all know that or not, that he's gonna leave. It's gonna happen. We know it's about other people, but we want to know if he cares, because you leaving back to back, it doesn't seem like you do. At least not as much. He said that money is not the priority with this shit, and I can understand that. I can believe that, and it's really not about money. You don't need money to do this. It's just blatant laziness. You don't have reasons. You need to understand that if you're going to do this, you need to understand how that's going to work. No one's saying this needs to be your full life thing. Nobody telling you this is what you have to do. And I'm not telling you that. And I could even tell you that. My man probably not even going to see this video. And I do not care. Y'all know me. If y'all don't, I do these videos because I want to speak about my opinion. I don't give a fuck if this is not the type of thing that some niggas are want to hear or not in this case. This is about me. This is what I'm gonna do. Okay, you feel me? No stutter shit. This is just how I'm gonna flex my boat, my point of view, and my cherishment to try to go ahead and do the other shit that I want to go ahead and do. Okay? I want to see him succeed. And maybe y'all can understand my opinion. If you don't agree with how I'm saying it or how harsh I am, I can understand that. I'm not trying to make this a problematic thing. This is just how I would perceive it. Because it's fake. It's not a good thing to do. It's not a good formal thing to do. Is he an evil person? No. I don't even know Cory like that. So I wouldn't even dare try to press somebody like that. I'm just saying I feel like arguably he's a very ignorant person to how this shit might be like. And if he is not, then he needs to start putting a lot more care in. He'll notify people and make things more clear. But I'm just saying sometimes he doesn't. and he doesn't put out the best case of content with it. So, overarching conclusion, because this video is getting super long, I pretty much spilled everything I said about Cory, niggas, how he goes about things. I fuck with how he's doing. I fuck with all that. Stop clickbaiting stuff with Cory. Stop pondering niggas in for views. Stop doing a bunch of all that other stuff. Talk about he dead, this and that. Just stop. You look foolish. Stop asking for attention in the most grimy case ways. That jaw check right there, but cherry on Coryxkenshin, goddamn. But still, it's just very weird. It don't make sense why he would do that. Congratulations on him for 10 mil. At that point, that's how I feel about him. Overarchingly, I mess with his content. Him as a content creator, he gets a 9 to almost 10 out of 10. But critically, in all basis, for the stuff that he does, some laziness, for some kind of off-brand, kind of mediocre case matter for content here and there, some different places, I would definitely say he kind of drives his points down because of this thing of how he puts out his content in a bigger boat. It's just not the best feel. I really do not mess with it. And I fuck with how he goes about things in the best type of way in some different cases of matter for situations. You feel me? I just really do not like how he goes about some other things or different things. Maybe I might not understand some different layers of different things. I understand why I'm saying he needs to put out more depth reasons, or at least be a lot more considerately cased with what he's trying to do than just doing that, because that's a very inconsiderate thing, is to kind of lead people on red to that point of extent. Because it's a very inconsiderate and non-caring thing depending on the case. Either way though, I wish Cory the best. If you ever do see this, my guy possibly, or any Cory fan sees this, I'm a Coryxkenshin fan too. Not to the highest but other people. I wouldn't say I'm a prestige samurai. I'm more the kind of Jin, docile, you know what I'm saying? Not really highest case boater involved in the samurai. I don't rise with y'all in the same field of things. But I got my honor to our shogun. So I'm going to go ahead and say how I feel. If y'all want to execute me, y'all can do that. But I'm going to say what I feel, and the freedom is greatness. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to say it in the best means to my brother. It's that simple. I wish him the best. I hope he does the best. Look at what he goes and do. And simple as that. Like other YouTubers, his actual friend YouTubers, said in their own words, he need to step up. They've actually said that off camera. And even if it might be posts for fake, I would say all the YouTubers that have talked to him in the way that they do mean that shit. You gotta really be real about how you gonna do this. No one's saying you gotta do it forever, and no one's gonna force you. But don't lie and do that shit. Like, everything that I have said would not be in the same boat, because it would clearly just be, I wish he didn't do that as much, but I understand. It would be that. But all this critically is because of that whole 10 mil shit. Like, either do it or do not. Like, do not do that shit. Just do not. Do not pull that shit. Do not. Like, it's a very annoying shit. I don't like that. I'm not full personally affected by it. I just very think it's dumb. It's very uncaring ideal when you're at that staple point and you pull that shit. Like, that's a very unconsiderate thing in my opinion. Anyway though, I love y'all. I'm gonna see you guys in the next one. Peace out, mommy. Love y'all.